what if I told you the more you chase wealth, the more it escapes you? Not because you're not working hard enough, not because you're not smart enough, but because you're chasing the frequency instead of becoming it. You've been taught to grind, to hustle, to stretch every hour of your day just to get closer to something that keeps running farther away. But what if wealth isn't something you earn? What if wealth is something you align with? And right now, you're pushing it away without even knowing it. Look around. Everyone's running toward more money, more success, more security, as if these things, once caught, will finally make them feel whole. But here's the truth. No one told you you were never meant to chase it, because chasing comes from lack, from the belief that it's not already within you, from the illusion that you're incomplete without it. This is where the illusion begins. The world you were raised in made wealth look like the prize at the end of a very long, painful game, and that, to win, you had to sacrifice joy, time, health, presence, and often your soul. But the more you sacrificed, the more empty you felt. Because you can't chase energy. You can only match it in wealth. It's energy. It's not in the bank account. It's not in the paycheck. It's not even in the business. It's in the frequency you carry. And if your frequency screams, "I'm not enough yet, I'm still behind, I'm trying to prove something," then you are unintentionally repelling the very abundance you're chasing. Because the field, the quantum field, doesn't respond to what you want. It mirrors what you are. Let that settle. You don't get what you want. You get what you are. And most people are locked in the frequency of lack. They don't even realize it. They dress it up as ambition. They dress it up as productivity. They say they're just being driven, okay? But underneath it all is fear. Fear of not having enough. Fear of being left behind. Fear of failure. Fear of being invisible, okay? In a world that only sees success. And so they chase, and the frequency runs away. Not because they're not trying hard enough, but because energy doesn't follow effort. It follows alignment. You were taught to pursue results, but the quantum world doesn't work like that. The quantum doesn't care about what you do, cares about what you are while you're doing it. You can spend 12 hours building a business from the energy of fear and still block abundance, but 2 hours of aligned action from a place of trust, joy, and expansion that opens portals. This is why some people seem to manifest effortlessly, not because they're lucky, but because they're tuned in. They've stopped chasing. They've started embodying. They don't need the money to feel wealthy. They feel wealthy first, and then the money comes. They don't need proof to believe. They believe first, and then the proof arrives. This is the frequency flip, and you're standing at the edge of that shift right now. This isn't about working harder. It's about waking up to the illusion that wealth is separate from you. It never was. It was only waiting for you to stop chasing and start remembering. It's who you are. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're not missing anything. You are a frequency transmitter, and the signal you're sending out is everything. So the real question is not, how do I get rich? The real question is, what signal am I sending right now? Because the field is listening, and it's not reacting, it's mirroring. You've been taught to chase wealth like it's prey. But what if I told you wealth has a frequency and it's running from you? It's not because you're not good enough. It's because you're vibrating at a frequency that wealth doesn't match. You keep pushing, hustling, grinding, trying to force the door, okay? Open, but energy doesn't respond to force. It responds to resonance. Think about this. When you're desperate, anxious, or impatient, what are you really emitting? It's not abundance. It's lack. The quantum field, the invisible field that shapes your reality, doesn't care about what you want. It responds only to what you are. So when you say, I want money, I want success, I want freedom, you might think you're aligning with wealth, but energetically, you're shouting, I don't have it. That's what the field picks up. Not your vision board, not your affirmations, but your state of being. This is why your efforts feel like they're hitting a wall, because they are. You're trying to force your way into a frequency that must be matched. It's not chased. Imagine two radio stations. You're tuned to one, but trying to hear music from another. No matter how hard you strain, nothing comes through because you're simply not on the right channel. That's you trying to attract wealth from the vibration of worry. That's you trying to manifest freedom while radiating fear. It doesn't work. You can't trick the field. You are your signal, and your signal is always being read. So the key isn't to chase money. The key is to tune yourself to shift your inner state to the same signature as abundance. This means letting go of desperation, releasing the fear that you'll never make it, and embodying the version of you who already has. Ask yourself, honestly, if I already had the wealth, would I be stressed? Would I be grinding endlessly? Would I be begging the universe for more? No. You'd move differently. You'd breathe differently. You'd think differently. And that's the secret. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are right now, not next week, not when you hit the next milestone. Now, because the field is always listening, not to your words, but to your vibration. So if wealth feels far away, it's not rejecting you. It's mirroring you. It's showing you where your frequency is. Misa, it's not about working harder. It's about aligning better. It's about becoming the signal. And this is where everything starts to shift. Not when you chase, when you calibrate. Most people assume wealth is something you chase, something you fight for, compete for, sacrifice sleep, time, and even peace of mind for. But the deeper truth, wealth doesn't arrive when you hustle harder. It arrives when you broadcast a frequency that matches it, just like a radio signal. Wealth is tuned in, not hunted. You don't run after wealth. You become the person wealth runs to. Let this sink in. Wealth is not out there. It's in here. It's not a destination. It's a frequency you emit, and you've been broadcasting the wrong signal. Imagine looking into a dark room with a flashlight. You shine the beam across the walls, looking for something hidden. But what if that flashlight is the very thing pushing the shadows away? What you're looking for is only visible in the absence of search. This is how most people treat wealth. They look so hard, they vibrate lack, they chase so fast, they repel abundance, because the broadcast they're sending to the universe says, I don't have enough, I need more, I'm not there yet. And that message becomes your reality. The universe doesn't respond to your desire, it responds to your vibration. Let's go deeper. Have you ever wondered why people who already have wealth seem to attract more of it effortlessly? It's not luck. It's not even just strategy. It's frequency. They're not operating from scarcity. They become so deeply attuned to abundance that their presence commands more of it. They're not broadcasting, hope I make it. They're broadcasting, this is who I am. Here's the hard truth. Until you shift that identity inside you, until you stop begging the external world to validate your worth, you'll keep chasing a signal that keeps running from you. Your internal broadcast is made of three things. 1, your beliefs. 2, your emotions. 3, your focus together. They create a vibration, a signal that either aligns with wealth or pushes it away. So ask yourself, what do you really believe about wealth? Do you think it's hard to get? That it only comes to lucky or ruthless people? What emotions do you tie to money? Anxiety, desperation, guilt? Where is your focus? Is it on what you lack or what's flowing to you? Because the universe is not random. It's perfectly calibrated. It brings you not what you want, but what you are. Pause for a moment. What if the wealth you're chasing has been chasing you this whole time? What if it's not a matter of trying harder, but tuning better? Kate, you can't hear the signal of wealth while you're broadcasting fear. You can't align with abundance while you're focused on absence. This is not spiritual fluff. This is energetic truth. Frequency is not a metaphor. It's physics. You are an emitter. a transmitter, broadcast tower of belief. And right now, you're either sending out a signal of I already am, or I hope I become. Only one of those signals attracts. Here's where it gets powerful. When you shift your internal signal, you begin to notice things others miss. Ideas appear. Opportunities show up. People feel drawn to you, not because you're lucky, but because your signal is clean. And when your signal is cleaned, it cuts through the noise. The wealth frequency isn't loud, it's subtle. It's a resonance. And if your internal static is too loud, you'll never hear it. That static. It's your doubt, your self-hate, your stories of not enough. But here's the miracle. You can quiet that noise. You can rewrite the story. You can shift from chasing to transmitting. You don't need to become someone else. You just need to become who you were before the world told. Okay? You were lacking because underneath the survival mode, okay, beneath the anxiety and the proving, there's a version of you that already knows. You were never meant to chase wealth. You were designed to attract it by becoming the frequency it responds to. You've been visualizing. You've written affirmations. You've watched the manifestation tutorials. You've tried feeling grateful. In advance, still, nothing changes. You start to wonder, am I broken? Am I doing something wrong? But what if the truth is more confronting? What if you were never aligned with the frequency in the first place? Yeah? You see, the universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you are, not what you say not. What you write, but what you're actually broadcasting beneath your words, beneath your thoughts, beneath your surface emotions. This is why most manifestation methods fail, not because they don't work, but because they only touch the surface. They make you say the words, but they never show you how to change the frequency behind the words. You can repeat, I'm rich, I'm wealthy, I'm abundant. But if your nervous system is locked in fear, your energy is still echoing lack. If your inner world is still playing the old broadcast of scarcity, then your frequency tells a very different story. And the field, the quantum field, only listens to that story. Imagine this. You're in a room full of radios, each radio tuned to a different station. You walk in and start shouting, play jazz, but your radio is tuned to heavy metal. No matter how many times you say jazz, you'll only hear distortion or nothing at all. This is what it's like when people try to manifest from misalignment. They're speaking one reality, but vibrating in another dot and in the quantum field. Only vibration matters. So here's the brutal truth. You cannot outspeak your frequency. You cannot affirm your way out of energetic misalignment. That's why people spend years trying to manifest the same thing, -wealth.health, and they end up exhausted, disillusioned, defeated, because they've been treating manifestation like a shopping list instead of what it really is, a mirror of your most consistent energetic signature. The universe isn't listening to your lips, it's listening to your nervous system, to your beliefs embedded in the body, to the frequency you emit in silence. And most people, they never silence themselves long enough to hear it. This is why people say, I do all the right things, but nothing ever changes, because what they're really doing is layering affirmations on top of fear, stacking vision boards on top of resistance, faking gratitude on top of unworthiness. But the field isn't fooled by decoration. It responds only to your core signal. That signal isn't determined by how badly you want it. It's determined by what you actually believe is possible. For you, not in theory, okay? But in your nervous system, in your breath, in the unspoken silence of your inner world. So, what happens next? When manifestation methods fail, most people do one of two things. They blame the universe, or they blame themselves. They say, maybe I'm not worthy. Maybe I don't deserve it. Maybe it's not meant for me. And that shame becomes another layer of resistance. Now, they're not just misaligned. They're vibrating with guilt, with hopelessness, with surrender to lack. And the field mirrors that even more precisely. But what if the real solution isn't louder affirmations? What if it's deeper awareness? You don't need to scream at the field. You need to get still enough to hear what you're actually broadcasting. And that is where the shift begins. You must go beneath the noise. You must feel where your frequency is still stuck in the past, where it still clings to limitation, where it still contracts at the thought of expansion. That's where your real work begins, not in visualizing the mansion, but in dissolving the vibration of I could never live there. Not in writing more zeros on your bank check, but in deleting the inner belief that says, people like me never get that far. Because as long as that belief exists, it is your frequency, and the field responds to that. So stop trying to convince the universe, stop begging it with words and vision boards and gratitude journals. Instead, tune your instrument, clean the static, bring your nervous system into safety, align your inner signal with abundance, not by forcing it, by dissolving the fear that blocks it. That's when the manifestation methods start working. Not because the words change, but because you did. Because when you finally vibrate in harmony with the reality you desire, you don't need to ask for it. It starts arriving on its own. You don't chase the frequency anymore. You become it. And once you become it, it has no choice but to find you. You can say the affirmations. You can write the vision board. You can repeat, I am wealthy, till your voice goes quiet. But if your nervous system doesn't believe it, nothing shifts. This is where the truth stings. Not because you're doing it wrong, but because no one told you the whole truth. You are not manifesting from your words. You are not manifesting from your tensions. You are manifesting from your regulation. And your nervous system is the tuning fork of your reality. You see, your body is a memory bank. Every trauma, every loss, every betrayal is stored in your cells. And while your conscious mind is screaming, abundance is my birthright, your nervous system is still bracing for impact, still preparing for the next financial blow, still waiting for disappointment, for loss, for not enough. That energy is the broadcast the field responds to. You can't fake calm. You can't pretend safety. The frequency that gets mirrored back to you is not what you say. It's what you feel when you're not trying to impress the universe. Let's get honest. Have you ever tried to manifest wealth, but deep inside, you were anxious about rent? You ever visualized success, but your stomach still clenched every time the bill arrived? That's not you failing. That's your body trying to protect you, because survival patterns run deep, and wealth is not about ideas. It's about regulation. The wealth frequency doesn't respond to desire. It responds to safety. If your system doesn't feel safe receiving more, it won't let it in. If your system doesn't trust ability, it will unconsciously reject it. And here's the hard part. You are not chasing wealth. You're chasing a feeling you've never been safe enough to hold. Pause here, because this part of the journey isn't glamorous, it's not viral, it's not something you can turn into a quote. It's quiet, personal, and real. It's sitting with a version of you that flinches at prosperity, and instead of pushing harder, you ask, what would help you feel safe now? Your nervous system isn't the enemy, it's your gateway. The universe can't force abundance on a dysregulated system. It's like trying to pour golden light into a glass that's cracking under pressure. So the work isn't to push through. It's to tune in, to regulate, to breathe, to slow down enough to meet the parts of you that were taught. Money is unsafe. And maybe that's all you've ever known. Maybe wealth always came with conditions, with pressure, with pain. Maybe the people around you only had more when they lost themselves. So of course, your nervous system links wealth with danger. Of course, you sabotage it. You're not broken. You're just still trying to feel safe. Wealth isn't just about vibration. It's about capacity. Can your system hold expansion without going into fight or flight? Can your body receive pleasure without numbing? Can your heart trust stability without preparing for collapse? That's the upgrade. That's the rewiring that allows your field to say, yes, I am ready. Not just mentally, but somatically. Here's something radical. Instead of asking what do I need to do to manifest wealth, ask instead, what makes my system feel grounded, calm, and at ease? Because when you're safe, you're magnetic. When you're safe, receive with ease. When you're safe, the frequency doesn't run from you, it lands. So, what does regulation look like? It's not just breath work and cold plunges. It's not just meditation apps. Sometimes, regulation looks like saying no when you mean no, honoring your limits, eating food that stabilizes you, letting your body rest instead of pushing for productivity, releasing relationships that constantly trigger survival mode. It's not about becoming better. It's about returning to balance. You can only hold what your nervous system feels safe holding, and that is not spiritual fluff. It's biology. You don't attract what you want. You attract what your body believes is normal. So, if chaos has been normal, peace will feel boring. If scarcity has been normal, wealth will feel threatening. But you can rewire this, not overnight, but moment by moment. Every time you choose peace over panic. Every time you soothe instead of hustle, you're telling your nervous system, it's safe now. We don't have to run anymore. Wealth isn't running from you. It's just waiting for you to feel safe, receiving it the next level of your abundance. This journey doesn't require more action. It requires more safety. That's the transmission your field responds to. That's the frequency that finally sticks. Not because you forced it, but because your body finally believes, I deserve this, and I am safe to hold it now. You think wealth is built in the grand gestures, in the massive decisions, in the public milestones, but that's not the truth. Not in this quantum reality. Wealth doesn't arrive with a bang. It calibrates quietly, visibly, in the tiniest moments you think don't matter. It happens when no one is watching. When you're just waking up in the morning and your first thought is either lack or gratitude. When you're brushing your teeth, your inner dialogue is either stress about the day ahead or peace in the present. When you open your bank app, your nervous system either contracts or remains open. That's calibration. That's where your frequency speaks louder than any vision board or affirmation ever could. Wealth doesn't care about what you say. It tunes in to how you become, how you show up in the ordinary, when the stakes feel low, because that's where the pattern is pure. Anyone can be positive during a big win. Anyone can feel abundant when money shows up. But wealth calibration is tested in the subtle, when life hasn't given you proof yet. But you embody the proof anyway. Here's the paradox. The universe responds fast as twine. You stop trying to force the response, because in those small moments, your calibration becomes real. It's no longer a performance. It's no longer a trick. It's a signal. And that signal is more powerful than every strategy you've been chasing. You're not manifesting wealth. You're matching it. And wealth doesn't live in the future. It already exists a frequency. The question is, are you matching it now? In the 5-second window before you check your notifications? In the breath you take before your next task? In the moment before you decide what thought to believe? Because every moment is an invitation to calibrate. Let's go deeper. Imagine 2 versions of you. One is in hustle mode, always rushing, always in lack, always thinking, I'm not there yet. It's the other version, same circumstances, but grounded, still grateful before there's a reason, acting with presence, not panic. Guess which one is closer to the frequency of wealth? It's not about effort, it's about essence, and that essence gets defined by what you repeatedly choosing those micro moments, the ones the world ignores, but the quantum field records. You might think, how can brushing my teeth in a calm materially affect my bank account? But it does, because in that calm, you've chosen alignment over urgency, presence over panic, and those choices and a ripple broadcast that aligns you with more of the same. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you carry across hundreds of unnoticed decisions. Let's bring it home. Wealth isn't something you earn. It's something you calibrate to. Not once, but consistently. In the tone of your self-talk. In how you speak to the barista. In how you breathe when you get an unexpected. Build that in whether you rush through dinner or actually taste your food. Because how you do the smell-less. How you'll meet the large. So many people think wealth is coming later. But every single now momentous asking you, are you ready yet? And your answer is never in your words. It's in your energy. And your energy is never accidental. It's trained, it's chosen, and it's always mirrored back. Even your posture sends a signal. Even your breathing pattern emits a code. Even the silence between your thoughts tells the universe whether you're in lack or abundance. You don't need to control every thought, but you do need to become aware, because awareness changes your state, and your state is the access point for a new signal, and a new signal means a new outcome. Wealth calibration. It's about working harder. It's about aligning deeper with more trust, more presence, more power in the moments that seem irrelevant. Because the field doesn't wait for your big leap. It listens to how you whisper to yourself in private, to how you hold your frequency hand. No one is validating you. That's wealth training. It's the tiniest acts of congruences to unlock massive doors. The way you stay present in a conversation instead of mentally checking out. The way you speak about others swing. There, not in the room. The way you follow through on the promises you make to yourself. Each and he recalibrates. Your identity, and identity is what determines destiny. So the next time you wonder why money isn't moving, why abundance isn't arriving, don't look at your goals, look at your moments, because wealth isn't delayed. It's just not yet aligned with the frequency you've been broadcasting in, those quiet, visible choices. The good news, you can change that signal right now, not by doing something massive, but by choosing presence in this very second. This is where the K-normia, today, I just where the calibration begins. We live in a world obsessed with doing, with hustling, grinding, checking boxes on productivity lists, filling calendars until they bleed. But what if wealth doesn't respond to any of that? What if wealth has never been reacting to your actions, but to your essence? You can follow every strategy, build funnels, post content, run ads, recite affirmations, and visualize the dream life daily. But if, deep down, you believe you're not enough, for your nervous system screams unworthiness, your identity is still rooted in lack, then wealth will reflect exactly that. Not because it's punishing you, but because it can only mirror your internal signal. And that signal isn't transmitted by words, it's broadcasted. It's through your state of being. People chase results with actions, but wealth flows toward resonance. It doesn't care about the mask you wear. It tunes into your frequency. You're not paid for what you do. You're rewarded for who you are while doing it. This is why two people can take the same steps, post the same content, sell the same offer, and get entirely different results. One carries the energy of certainty. The other, the hidden vibration of neediness. And the field can't tell. You can't trick the quantum field. It doesn't buy your strategy. It buys your signal, because your signal is the strategy. Wealth has an intelligence of its own. It knows when you're acting from fear, masked as ambition. It knows when you're forcing, faking, or chasing, and it withdraws, not to punish you, but to reflect something back, a deeper message. You must become what you're seeking, not perform your way into it. The real question isn't, what should I do to get wealth? It's, who must I become so wealth has no choice but to find me? Really flips everything. Because when you operate from identity, your actions carry weight. Your presence becomes magnetic. Your words land differently. Your silence holds power. You're no longer doing things to become someone. You're being someone who naturally does those things. That's alignment. And alignment is irresistible to abundance. The ones who attract wealth at quantum speed, they're not doing more. They're doing from a different place. They embody the future version of themselves. Now, they walk like wealth is already theirs. Speak like the frequency is anchored. Move like receivers, not beggars. They've made peace with uncertainty. They've let go of control. And most importantly, have remembered who they are beyond the fear, beyond the chase. So ask yourself, would the wealthiest version of me worry about how? Would they doubt if they're worthy? Would they try to convince the world of their value? Or would they simply show up calm, grounded, certain, because it's already done in their field? Right? The real shift. Not another technique, not another book or course, but a return to inner authority, to truth. Wealth doesn't want to be chased. It wants to be welcomed. And you do that not by force, but by becoming a match for it in being, not behavior. Because energy doesn't lie, and your current identity is always broadcasting a signal. That signal is either, I need this to complete me, or I am already complete. Wealth is just a reflection. Only one of those creates true magnetism. You've been trained to focus on what you're doing wrong. But the real evolution happens when you ask, who am I being while I do this? Because no amount of doing can override a frequency of lack, and no amount of lack can block a frequency of wholeness. You are not the strategy. You are the signal. And when your signal is rooted in truth, in peace, in enoughness, in certainty, wealth responds. Not because you earned it, but because it's who you've become. Have you ever noticed how uncomfortable it feels to receive? It's not just compliments, not just love, but true abundance. There's a hidden tension in your body, a subtle resistance that says, "Tond, deserve this." Or worse, what if it doesn't last? Talk so much about giving. We're trained to chase, strive, hustle, but no one teaches us how to receive. And yet, receiving is an energetic skill, a frequency, a vibration, a whole new way of being. It's not about being passive. It's not about sitting back and waiting. It's about holding an energetic state that invites wealth in. This is the receiving frequency, and most people are completely blocked from it. The irony, you're already surrounded by the very abundance you seek. Opportunities, connections, synchronicities, but if your internal frequency isn't calibrated to receive, you can't even see them. It's like being tuned to the wrong radio station. You think the signal isn't there, but it's broadcasting all around you, loud, clear, clear, powerful. You're just not receiving it. And here's where it gets deeper. Receiving requires safety. It requires trust. It requires you to relax into the flow. But for most people, the nervous system is too dysregulated. You've been wired for survival, not receptivity. You're always anticipating loss, waiting for the other shoe to drop. Even when something good arrives, you sabotage it because deep down, it feels unfamiliar. So, instead of receiving, you repel, you block, you deflect. Why? Because to your subconscious mind, receiving feels dangerous. And now we uncover the paradox. The more you chase abundance, the more you push it away. Because chasing is the frequency of lack. It says, I don't have it yet. It says, it's outside of me. It says, I'm separate from what I want. But receiving says, it's already mine. I am the match. I am the signal it responds to. Okay, this isn't positive thinking. It's energetic alignment. It's about becoming resonant with what you desire. So how do you activate the receiving frequency? You start with the body, not with the mind, not with affirmations, not with vision boards, but with your nervous system, your breath, your posture, your moment-to-moment regulation. Because when the body feels safe, abundance flows. When the body feels safe, you stop grasping, you stop controlling, You stop chasing. You open. And in that openness, the universe rushes in. Here's the truth. The frequency of receiving is active stillness. It's not waiting on the couch. It's not sitting around, hoping for miracles. It's a deep inner kina. It's knowing who you are. It's trusting your signal is enough. It's doing the energetic work that precedes the physical. Salt. Because wealth isn't waiting for you to do more. It's waiting for you to become more, too. To become safe in receiving. To become worthy of the good that finds you. To stop questioning whether you're enough. You are you always were. But your frequency must agree with that truth when you're in the frequency of receiving you. Stop fighting time. You stop competing with others. You stop measuring your worth in productivity. Instead, you let abundance come to you. Not because you're lazy, but because you finally believe it can. You believe it wants to. Because you're no longer sending out mixed signals. You've become a clear channel. And now, wealth has a place to land. Receiving isn't passive. It's the most energetically active state there is. It takes courage to stay open. It takes trust to let go of control. It takes power to stop chasing and simply say, I'm ready. I'm available. I receive. They told you, wealth arrives like it's a destination, a fixed point in the future. You must run toward. But what if wealth doesn't arrive at all? What if it emerges from you? It's not from effort, not from hustle, but from the inner soil of your being, the unseen garden, where your frequency quietly blossoms. That's where wealth is born. Let's strip away every illusion. Wealth isn't hiding from you, it's reflecting you, your state, your rhythm, your frequency. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. And until that truth hits you, not just intellectually, but somatically, spiritually, you'll keep chasing something that only responds to your essence. There's something most people miss. They chase wealth as an event. They believe it's something that will happen to them. But true wealth is a phenomenon that happens through them. It's not granted. It's not earned. It's expressed from the deepest calibration of your soul. You can have all the right strategies, read all the right books, work 18 hours a day. If the internal signal you're broadcasting is fear, scarcity, or misalignment, wealth will stay distant. Not because it's cruel, but because it's intelligent, because it's responsive. Close your eyes for a moment. Feel the rhythm of your life, not your schedule, not your to-do list, but the frequency you carry when no one's watching, when there's no performance, when you are just you. Does that version of you feel whole? Does it feel free? Does it trust? Or is it still gripping reality, trying to control outcomes, proving worth through action? The energy within you is tense, heavy, fragmented. That's what the field will echo back, because the quantum doesn't speak language. It speaks vibration. It mirrors your state, not your script. Here's the raw truth. You don't receive wealth. You release it from the blocks that keep it from flowing through you. So stop waiting for the world to give it. Stop waiting for your turn, your moment, your breakthrough. The signal has to start now, from you. Because when the inner world is coherent, tuned, present, the outer world bends. Every time you breathe with intention. Every time you choose presence over panic. Every time you feel abundance before the bank account proves it. You're not being delusional. You're being energetically accurate. You're telling the field, this is who I am now. And that is a declaration the universe cannot ignore. The moment you become wealth, wealth stops being a pursuit. It becomes a side effect. Let that sink in. Wealth isn't the goal. Alignment is, and wealth is just alignment, materialized. So stop trying to force it. Instead, calm, okay? Your nervous system. Bring your mind home. Feel the part of you that already has it. Not because you tricked yourself, but because you transformed yourself. This is the paradox that most miss. You were never meant to chase wealth. You were meant to channel it. It was never running from you. It was waiting for you to become the vessel strong enough, open enough, still enough to hold it. So let this be the turning point, not in your actions, in your energy. From this moment forward, stop asking, when will wealth come to me? And start asking, what must I become for wealth to come from me? Because that's when everything changes. You don't attract wealth by chasing it. You align with wealth by becoming it. Read that again. This moment right here isn't about doing more. It's about aligning deeper, because the frequency of wealth isn't impressed by hustle. It's not seduced by desperation, and it doesn't answer to effort. It answers to resonance. You've spent years trying to earn it, trying to prove your worth, trying to be good enough. You worked harder, read more books, visualized bigger dreams, and yet something still felt off, as if wealth was always just out of reach. You could see it, feel it, but not hold it. That's because frequency can't be tricked. It reads your energy signature, not your words, not your vision board. So the question isn't, what else do I need to do to get wealth? The real question is, what frequency? Am I broadcasting right now? Because your internal broadcast determines your external reception, and that signal comes from your being, not your doing. Becoming a frequency match alignment is not about pretending. It's not about acting confident when you're terrified. It's not about saying, I am wealthy, while your nervous system screams, I'm scared. Alignment means honesty with yourself. It means clearing the static between who you are, who you're becoming. The truth is, wealth already exists in the quantum field. It's not waiting to be created. It's waiting to be tuned into. Imagine a radio. The signal is already. It's being broadcast. You don't have to build a tower. You just have to tune the dial. That's what alignment is. Shifting your inner dial so you pick up the frequency that's already there. And when that happens, you don't manifest wealth, wealth manifests you. Letting go of effort and stepping into energy you. Been told that more action equals more results. And yes, action matters. But in the quantum field, it's not about more. It's about precision. Aligned energy creates quantum leaps. Chaotic energy creates burnout. Here's what no one tells you. Your need to make it happen is actually repelling the wealth you want. Why? Because that need broadcasts lack, and lack attracts more lack. Wealth doesn't respond to need. It responds to certainty, not ego-driven certainty, but a deep knowing. I am the frequency of wealth. I embody it. So how do you get there? Okay, by releasing the identity of the chaser, by no longer seeking wealth as a savior, but honoring it as a mirror. It reflects you, not your effort. It's practical alignment, calibrating in the now you. Don't need to go to a mountain retreat to align with wealth. The calibration happens in the smallest moments, when you pay a bill with gratitude instead of fear, when you stop over-explaining your worth, when you breathe deeply instead of reacting impulsively, when you choose rest without guilt, when you trust silence more than external noise. These moments, they reprogram your field. They're the tiny shifts that collapse timelines. They're how the quantum responds. Stillness is not laziness, it's mastery. You want wealth to chase you. You must become a safe space for abundance. Stillness is that space. But many fear stillness. They equate it with doing nothing. But in truth, stillness is when the real calibration happens. Because in stillness, your nervous system can listen in. Only then can you hear what you've been broadcasting. Call along. Stillness reveals your signal. It's where alignment begins. And from that space, compt becomes powerful, not panicked. Movement becomes magnetic, not messy. The quantum doesn't respond to your hustle. It responds to your harmony. If your external world feels blocked, it's because your internal broadcast is noisy. Clarity doesn't come from grinding harder. It comes from tuning your instrument. Wealth doesn't show up when you've done enough. It arrives when your field says, yes, I am the one who holds this. I am the space this frequency belongs to. You don't get what you chase. You get what you are. In the moment you stop chasing, it's the moment it finally finds you. You've chased the dream. You've scripted affirmations. It's visualized till your eyes watered, hustled harder than anyone around you. Yet somehow it still slips through your fingers. Why? Because the energy of chasing pushes what you desire further away. Not because the universe is cruel, but because you're vibrating in the absence of what you want. You're broadcasting, I don't have it. I need it. I'm not enough until it comes, okay? And the field listens. It doesn't judge. It mirrors. So the final frequency alignment isn't about doing more. It's about becoming magnetic, still aligned, quiet enough inside that it can find you. Let's go deeper. You don't attract it by chasing it. You let it find you. Abundance doesn't arrive through effort alone. It flows when your energy becomes receptive. That means no resistance, no inner conflict, no survival mode urgency. When you're anxious for something to arrive, your energy becomes rigid. You're not open. You're waiting with a clock in your hand. The frequency of true wealth is soft. It doesn't crash through the door. It glides in. The question is, can you become quiet enough inside for it to land? Letting go of force. Choosing resonance. You don't force a flower to bloom. You create the right environment. Sunlight, water, soil, and it unfolds naturally. Wealth works the same way. When your internal state becomes the right frequency, abundance has no choice but to emerge. So ask yourself, what am I still forcing? What am I trying to control instead of trusting? What fear is keeping me in the loop of doing over being? The field mirrors your dominant signal. What is your energy actually broadcasting? If it's desperation, you'll get more reasons to feel desperate. If it's trust, you'll notice life responding in magical, synchronistic ways. The field already knows where you're going. Most people think they have to figure it all out. The path, the plan, the exact steps. But what if you don't? What if your only job is to become so internally aligned that the next step can't help but reveal itself? When your frequency stabilizes, the path appears. Not because you calculated it, but because the quantum field is intelligent. It responds to who you are being. Letting it find you means you stop trying to force the outcome and start trusting the process, the art of holding the energy before it arrives. Here's the final shift. Hold the energy before the reality shows up. That means you smile before the money arrives. You relax before the opportunity lands. You walk with calm certainty before the proof appears. Why? Because you're no longer negotiating with the universe. You've become a match. You've already received it energetically. The outer world. That's just the delay. The echo. This is what masters of manifestation understand. They hold the energy consistently. They don't collapse the moment life throws contrast. They stay centered. And in that stillness, it finds them. Letting wealth arrive in unexpected ways. Once your energy is aligned, you stop micromanaging the how. You allow wealth to arrive through paths you never could have planned, because it's not your job to dictate its delivery. It's your job to become magnetic to it. So when you walk through the world with ease, grounded confidence, and a quiet certainty in your field, opportunities start finding you. Support flows in. People offer help. SYNCHRONICITIES. Become your new normal, not because you chased it, but because your field invited it. You are no longer the chaser. You are the signal. Biggest shift is this. You're no longer broadcasting, I need this. You're now transmitting, I already am this. You don't wait for wealth to validate you. You validate yourself with every breath, every choice, every moment of calm trust. You walk differently. You speak differently. You breathe differently. Because you are the frequency now, and frequencies don't chase, they attract. Final alignment. Practice close. your eyes. Place your hand on your chest. Breathe deeply now. Ask yourself, quietly, if I already had everything I ever wanted, how would I feel right now? Feel that. Anchor it. Expand it. Now, live from that place, not just once, every day. This is the frequency that brings it all home. Not because you ran after it, but because you became so still, so resonant, that it found you. You were never meant to chase. You were meant to align. And in that alignment, everything changes.